Okay, so we are discussing about the first topic, that is physical world. So what is physical world? Very simple. The surrounding world in which we are living, that is nothing but an physical world. Okay. See, see, all you have taken a science. So let me study what is meant by science. Okay, so there are a large number of definitions are there. The simplest one is I am referring the NCERT book. It says that the word science originates from the Latin verb scientia. Okay, so what is meant by scientia? Scientia means to know. So science means was to know. The Sanskrit word Vijnan and the Arabic word ilm convey the similar meanings, namely knowledge. So science is nothing but science is the knowledge. Okay, so whatever you are getting the knowledge, that collectively it is called as science. But the question is, what type of knowledge it is? Okay, so everyone, okay, the living person in the world has got certain knowledge. The farmer has gotten certain knowledge about its work. Okay, so the each person is doing certain amount, okay, certain work having some amount of knowledge. So can we call it as science? Definitely no. Then what is meant by, okay, what type of knowledge it is that we start calling it as science? See, knowledge. So what is science here? Science means the knowledge. And what type of knowledge it is? The knowledge gained through observations and experiments is known as science. Okay, now this is the perfect definition for science. What is science? The knowledge gained through observations. Okay, so you have got certain systematic observation. You observe certain phenomena very systematically. Okay, and you have repeated that phenomena or this one by using the experiment. You have analyzed, okay, you have verified your data based on the observation is called science. Okay, actually we are going to learn in next consecutive slides here what is actually what is meant by observations and experiment, but this is the definition of science. Understood? The knowledge gained through observations and experiments is known as science. The science deals with the nature. Okay, so our knowledge is about, see, what we are giving the gaining the knowledge. We are gaining the knowledge from the surrounding nature. So science deals with the nature. Therefore, it is also called as natural philosophy. So it is nothing but an philosophy. What type of philosophy it is? The natural philosophy. That is the organized study of nature. Divisions of science. Okay, so science is a knowledge of nature. So divisions of science here. Earlier, science has been divided into two main branches. One is biological science that deals with study of living things, and second is the physical science that deals with study of non-living things. Okay, earlier days we have classified science into two main branches, biological science and physical science. Biological science. Okay, again it is divided into two branches. One is botany and second is zoology. Botany that deals with study of plants. Okay, so the study of plants is, okay, now that branch is called botany. And zoology that deals with study of animals. Okay, so biology means the study of the living things. You know that in nature living things means, again it can be categorized as the plants and animals. The study with respect to plants is called botany, and the study with respect to animals are called zoology. So come to the physical science. What is physical science? Physical science are the, it is about the non-living things. It is a fundamental science because it's the foundation for other areas of science. Okay, so which are the branches of physical science? There are various branches are there. The main branches are physics, chemistry, mathematics. Okay, so if you take the astrology, anatomy, okay, so there are largest branches, but these are the main three branches of physical science. Physics, chemistry, and mathematics are the main discipline in physical science. Okay, so before Our main intention is to, okay, so our course is about the study of physics. Before going to the physics, we are learning some, okay, so something about the nature, the science, the methods. Then we are going for our core topic, that is physics here. To study any science, we require certain systematic methods, and that methods we call it as the scientific method. Okay, a science student must have the science attitude. He must have the scientific method. Okay, so he has to. Okay, what is science? Science means it is the gaining of knowledge through observations and experiment. How to do this observation? How to do this experiment? Okay, so in which approach you are going to study the science. Now that methodology we call it as scientific method. Okay, so we always says that the science teacher should teach his student to apply that particular knowledge, or to just memorize it. Okay, okay, you are going to just memorize what is science. Okay, what is a scientific method? It is not the science. Science means what? You should apply in daily life. Okay, so therefore, any situation is there, you are going to approach that situation in an systematic method. You should have an method, and that method is called the scientific method. See, what is a scientific method? Is a systematic attempt to understand the natural phenomena. Okay, so any natural phenomena is going on. For an example, rainbow is the natural phenomena. Okay, you observe the clouds in the sky. So why the cloud formation take place? Again, it's an natural phenomena. Raining, it's a natural phenomena. Okay, whatever may be the natural phenomena, you just first you have to understand, systematically you have to attempt to understand the natural phenomena. Okay, so when the thunderstorm comes, you observe both sound as well as the light. Okay, you systematically have to attempt to understand. Okay, if you make an attempt, we clearly see that, okay, you observe that the sound and light are not coming to the earth at the same time. There is some delay is there. Okay, first the light appears, then we hear the sound. So now these are the systematic attempt to understand the natural phenomena as much detail and depth as possible. Okay, so we have to go in a detailed manner, we have to go in a depth manner, and use the knowledge so gained to predict, modify, and control the phenomena. That is called scientific method. Okay, so let us take certain example to understand this particular sentence. Before that, again I am repeating, what is scientific method? Scientific method is an systematic attempt to understand the natural phenomena in as detail and depth as possible, and use the knowledge so gained to predict, modify, and control the phenomena. Okay, how to do the scientific method here? Okay, so scientific method is nothing but an approach to study the natural phenomena. But what is the approach here? See, scientific method means it is not a single step. Okay, it has various several interconnected steps. For an example, first you have to go for systematic observations, then you have to go for the controlled experiment, then you have the qualitative reasoning, quantitative reasoning, you have an mathematical modeling, predictions, verification or falsification of theories. You can give the large number of examples to study this, okay, scientific method, how they are connected with that particular example. Okay, so nowadays we have an okay, so we are undergoing a critical situation worldwide, that is nothing but our coronavirus. Okay, so now that is a natural phenomena. The virus is infecting the people. So first we have studied the observations, okay, where this virus come from, whether it is DNA related, whether it is RNA related, And finally, we have done the experiments, we have reasoned, we have the qualitative and quantitative reasoning, we have made a model, and finally we have prepared an vaccine for it. Anything in a nature comes from the scientific method. Okay, so let me take the usual example, like the gravity. Newton has invented the gravity. How he has invented the gravity? So first he has done systematic observation. Okay, so one day when the Newton is sitting under the tree, some apple falls on it. Everyone observed this phenomena, but the Newton systematically observed this one. Okay, he start observing why this apple is falling from the tree. Okay, he has taken this one as observation as very systematically. Then a controlled experiment in a lab. He has gone. He has made a similar arguments like this. He put some pencil on the table. Okay, or so he is making the free fall of pencil. Okay, when you leave this pencil, it falls on the ground. So you start thinking like that. Okay, the fall of the apple on the earth, the fall of an pencil. So these are called systematic observations. Okay, he observed that each object, when you make an free, okay, so they becomes fall towards the earth, free fall observations. Next is he has made the controlled experiment. Okay, so he has made the other experiment also. Okay, so he observed that you take any materials, if you make the fall from the same height, definitely each material fall towards the earth. Okay, he has changed the height here. Okay, so first you fall from the 1 meter, it fall towards earth only. Let me increase the distance. Okay, again you put some object from the 2 meter, again it fall towards earth only. So that is called controlled experiment. He has made various experiment, and in each experiment he found that each material is falling towards earth only. Then is qualitative reasoning. Start thinking about this observation. Why the apple is falling towards earth? Who is responsible? Whether it depends on mass. Okay, so you start looking this. Why? Okay, qualitative reasoning. And next is the quantitative reasoning. What is quantitative reasoning? Has taken the various object of different shape. That is called qualitative. Okay, qualitative means you are taking the different object of the different masses. Okay, in quantitative reasoning, you start measuring the mass of an object. Okay, you start measuring the shape of an object. Okay, you take two different materials. One is sphere, second is cube. Both have been made to fall on the earth. Definitely both move towards the earth. You start calculating their velocity, you start calculating their acceleration. So you start some quantitative reasoning. Okay, whether this the falling, whether it depends on the mass. Okay, larger is the mass, larger will be the velocity, like this. Okay, so that is called quantitative reasoning. You start making the mathematical modeling. What is meant by mathematical modeling? You start making certain formulas. Okay, so you come to the conclusion that based on this control experiment, qualitative reasoning and quantitative reasoning, he thought that some force is responsible for the fall of apple. Okay, some force is responsible for the fall of apple, so that is called prediction. Okay, so he has made the observations, he has made a formula, and that formula we call it as the mathematical modeling. He says that F is equal to G into M1 into M2 divided by R square. He make a mathematical formula which argues that the gravitational force depend on the product of the masses, the mass of an apple as well as the mass of the earth. Okay, more is the mass, more will be the gravitational force. So that is called mathematical modeling. More is the distance, okay, lesser will be the gravitational force. So the gravitational force is inversely proportional to square of the distance. The gravitational force is directly proportional to product of their masses. Now that is called mathematical modeling. Next is called predictions. What is meant by predictions? Now I have the systematic formula. F is equal to G into M1 into M2 divided by R square. By using that formula, I can predict. Okay, so now the object. Okay, so you can consider. Okay, you can give any two mass of an object. If you give the distance R, I can predict the force here. I start predicting. Okay, so by using the Newton's law of gravitation, we have studied it is not only applicable for the free fall of an apple, it is applicable also for the object which are having the mass. They should obey Newton's laws of gravitation. It's a universal law. If the object has mass, then it should experience the force, gravitational force. So we have given a planetary model, solar system model. Okay, so we have given the motion of moon around the earth. We can predict. Okay, so we can predict that. Next, solar eclipse, okay, occurs during this date, during this time. We can start predicting the next phenomenons. Okay, we have the systematic observations, we have a systematic formula. Based on that formula, we can say that, okay, see, after 6 months some comment is coming towards earth. We start predicting it. Are you getting me? Next is the verification or falsification of theories. Okay, so science is a dynamic subject. Science, okay, so science is an dynamic subject. It's not a study. Okay, someone has given the planetary model. According to that planetary model, okay, he says that the based on the Tycho Brahe observations, okay, they says that before Tycho Brahe, before Johannes Kepler, the theory is like this. The planetary model is like this. Earth is considered to be at center, and all planets, including the sun, it is revolving around the Earth. That is called geocentric theory. Okay, so then next, Johannes Kepler, based on the observations and own his data, has he said that that particular theory is false. Has verified that theory, and he says that no, this is wrong. He has given the falsification of theory. And according to Johannes Kepler, the planet orbit is not circular, but they are elliptical. Plus, sun is at the center of the solar system, and all planets are revolving around the sun. That is called heliocentric theory. Okay, so before the method says that no, it's a geocentric theory, but it is Johannes Kepler. He has made the falsification of theories, and he has made a new theory. Okay, so science is an dynamic subject. So now this is the method here. Okay, if you observe some natural phenomena, first you have to do the systematic observation. You have to make a large number of observation. You have to collect the data, everything. Okay, so Tycho Brahe has taken some many years. Okay, so he has taken some decades of time to collect the data about the planets. Based on that data only, Johannes Kepler has made the planetary model. Okay, he has made an planetary model based on the data collected by the Tycho Brahe. So Tycho Brahe has made a large number of data. He has made a very systematic observation. Okay, in each day and each night, he has connected the positions, the angles of the particular stars, particular planets. So that is very important. Systematic observation. Then you have to go for controlled experiments. Then you have to go for reasoning, both manner. Okay, in both domains, qualitative as well as the quantitative. Reasoning is important. A mathematical model is important. Okay, so you have a theory, you should have some mathematical formula. Mathematical model is important. Okay, if you have theory, then you can predict the future also. Okay, so you can predict, okay, next month there will be so much amount of rainfall. Okay, so this year we have a good the rainfall in our country. We can predict the future. Okay, if we have a very good data and the formula, we can predict the features also. Okay, so based on our theory, if some theory comes, we can verify that theory and we can make an falsification also. So that is called scientific method. Okay, so the science student should should solve each problem based on the scientific method. Now that is called scientific attitude. Okay, you should develop the scientific attitude. Okay, so now come to our core topic, that is physics. Our discussion is about physics. So the first one, what is meant by physics? The word physics comes from a Greek word meaning nature. Physis means nature. That means what is physics? Very simple. It is knowledge about nature. Okay, if you are collecting anything about nature, if you want to study, if you want to gain the knowledge about nature, then that particular branch of science, simply we call it as physics. Okay, so now this is very interesting. Okay, so before going into the detail about physics, the study of physics, the approach of physics is done in two manners. Two principal thrust here in physics. One is unification and second is reduction or reductionism. Okay, reduction or reductionism. One is unification. What is unification? If I take a definition, what is unification? Unification is the act of unifying the different laws valid for different phenomena into a single theory explaining all the different phenomena. Okay, so just go through the sentence. What is unification? Unification is the act of unifying the different laws valid for different phenomena into a single theory that explain all the different phenomena. What is meant by it? Best example is the gravity. Okay, so we know that the earth is revolving around the sun. I have one more observation, one more different phenomena. The falling of apple on the earth. Okay, now the rotation of earth around the sun and the falling of apple on the earth from the tree. Now these two are two different phenomena. They are the different theories, okay, to explain these two phenomena. So earlier we have the different theories. We consider that now these two things are different. The falling of apple on the earth is different from rotation of earth around the sun. Third phenomenon, the rotation of moon around the earth. The rotation of moon around the earth. Earth rotates around the sun, moon rotates around the earth, and object fall towards earth. Earlier we thought that now these three things are totally different, but Sir Isaac Newton says that based on these observations and his method, okay, his conclusion is that the same force is responsible for the falling of apple on the earth, and the same force is responsible for rotation of planets around the sun, and the same force is responsible for rotation of moon around the earth, and he called that force as the gravitational force. Gravity is a single theory. Are you getting me? Okay, so it's a different laws. The rotation of the earth, okay, it's a circular the rotation of earth around the sun is a different phenomena from the falling of apple towards the earth. But if I take a single theory, gravity, then this gravity unifies all these three phenomena. So that is called unification. Again, in physics, we always try to get, okay, so to make a single theory which explain the different phenomena. The second best example is Maxwell's law. Now this is very beautiful equations. Okay, you will going to learn in higher classes. Maxwell's has given of four laws. Divergence of E is equal to 1 by epsilon times charge density. Divergence of magnetic field is 0. Curl of electric field is minus d by dt, and the curl of magnetic field is mu naught times j plus epsilon into d by dt. Now these are the four famous Maxwell's equation which unifies entire electromagnetism with optics. Earlier, okay, so before Maxwell, we thought that electricity is different, magnetism is different, and optics is different. But Maxwell has made a single theory which says that their origins are same. Okay, so by using the force Maxwell equation, we have unified electricity, magnetism, and optics. Sir Albert Einstein has a, okay, so he also in the last years, okay, he want to give a single theory which explain each and every concept of physics, each and every phenomenon of physics, but he failed. but he tried to make an, okay, so he has a dream to make a single theory which explain everything. Okay, we are trying, okay, physics we are trying to give a single theory which explain each and every phenomena in nature. So that is called unification. The next is the reductionism. What is meant by reductionism? See, sometimes it is very difficult to study the complex system. Okay, so it is very difficult to study the complex system. Therefore, what we do is very simple. We break down a complex system into a simple constituent system. Okay, we are breaking the complex system into a simple system. We are applying the laws of physics on that systems, and we can understand the working of an complex system. Okay, we are breaking the complex system into small systems, and we are applying the laws to that particular small system, and we are studying the complex system. For an example, you have a car. Okay, you want to study about an car. Okay, how this steering works, how the gearbox works, how this okay, so how this the clutch, how the brake works, how the car runs. So car is a complex system. If you want to study the car, then you can't study in a single manner. You cannot apply a single theory to study everything about car. So what we do is very simple. We are studying the parts by part. Okay, we are taking the steering part, how it works. Okay, if I rotate like this, if I make a circular motion, how to make a circular motion, how to apply torque. Okay, how it actually rotates the wheel. So first I am studying about the steerings. I am studying about the gear. Okay, how the gearbox works. Okay, I am studying about the brakes. Okay, which are the laws. Okay, hydraulic, Pascal law. When I apply the Pascal law, okay, you will have an braking system. So each component is studied. Okay, you are braking the car, not physically. Okay, so you are breaking the car into its components, and you are applying the laws to study that components. And if you know everything, that means collectively you understand the working of the complex system, that is car. I can give one more example. Okay, so this unification and reductionism, they are not only related to physics, they are related to science. For example, if you take a life science, I have taken one example, thyroid. Okay, you have a thyroid gland, you have an hypothyroidism. Or some person is suffering from the hypothyroidism. Okay, he has gone suffering from the thyroid glands. Then, if you want to study, okay, so why this happens, then you have to study, okay, each and every component of the thyroid. Okay, so thyroid and the pituitary gland which present in the brain, they are interrelated. Okay, why this hypothyroidism is take place? Very simple. It is due to the stimulation hormone, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. So you have to study about what is meant by thyroid stimulating hormone, where this hormone is secreted, how it is related to hypothyroidism. You have to understand about the TSH. Okay, how this pituitary gland set the level of thyroid hormone, how it instructed to thyroid to do the job. So you have to study about, okay, if you want to study the disease of hypothyroidism, you must have the knowledge of thyroid gland, you should have the knowledge of pituitary glands, how this T3 and T4 and TSH. Okay, what is meant by T3, what is meant by T4, what is meant by thyroid stimulating hormone, how it affects the person's, okay, weight, or it may be, okay, everything, how it make an hormonal imbalance. You have to study each and everything. Okay, if you know about everything, you have studied about the hypothyroidism. So complex system, you are divided into a simple system, and you are applying the laws to study the simple system. That is called reductionism. Okay. Okay, now branches in physics. Okay, you have the two main domains here in physics. One is called macroscopic domain, and second is called microscopic domain. Okay, macroscopic, the larger domain, and microscopic means the smaller domains. Okay, in the next consecutive lecture, we are going to detail study about this, what is meant by macroscopic and microscopic, the branches in physics. We have the various branches here. I have taken some examples here. Thermodynamics. Okay, if you want to study in heat and temperature in physics, and that particular branch is called thermodynamics. If you want to study the motion, its causes, its laws, then that particular branch is called mechanics. If you want to study about the atoms, the electrons, okay, how the spectrum is formed, what is meant by Balmer series, Lyman series, then that particular branch we call it as atomic physics, atoms. If you want to study about the protons, neutrons, radioactivity, okay, why this radioactivity take place, what is meant by nuclear fission, what is meant by nuclear fusion. If you want to study about that one, that is called nuclear physics. If you want to study about the electricity and magnetism, electromagnetic waves, microwaves, radio waves, then that particular section we call it as electromagnetism. If you want to study about a light, what is meant by reflection, what is meant by refraction, what are the laws regarding the reflection, what is the laws regarding the refraction, then that particular branch we call it as optics. Okay, so we have the large number of branches are there. We have the quantum mechanics is there, we have the classical mechanics is there, electronics is there. If you want to study about the controlled motion of electrons, okay, the application, the technology base, that is called electronics. Okay, spectroscopy is there. Okay, we have the larger condensed matter is there. Okay, we have the larger branches in physics here. Okay, next in next two consecutive years we are going to study about various topics, the branches of physics here. Okay, so move on to the okay, next small section, that is called fundamental forces in nature. Okay, so this entire nature, it is governed or controlled by four basic forces. Now, these are the naturally occurring forces. We are not applying the force on that. Okay, they are present in the nature. The gravitational force, electromagnetism force, strong nuclear force, and weak nuclear force. Okay, so this there are four types are there: the gravitational force, strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, and electromagnetic force. Now these are the four fundamental forces present in the nature. The first one is the strong nuclear force. Okay, we'll go into study in the second PUC in the nuclear physics why this force occurs. Okay, just I'm giving the brief picture about the strong force. Okay, what is strong nuclear force? The force between the protons, the force between the protons and neutrons. That means the force between the nucleons. What is nucleons? The particles present in the nucleus. Okay, now that force between the protons and protons, protons and neutrons, neutrons and neutrons, that is called strong nuclear force. Now this is the strongest force in the nature. Okay, out of four basic forces, which is the strongest force? The strong nuclear force is the strongest force present in the nature. Electromagnetic force. Okay, after strong nuclear force, okay, so this is the next force, that is the electromagnetic force. Okay, so electromagnetic force, now this is a force between the charges. Okay, so you will again going to study in the second PUC the force between the charges, that explained by Coulomb's law, that is called electrostatic force, which governs the force between the two charges. And the force between the two magnets or the force between the two moving charges, now that is governed by the magnetic force here. Okay, now this electric force and magnetic force, they are collectively called as electromagnetic force. Next is the weak nuclear force. Okay, the next is the weak nuclear force. Again, the weak nuclear force, now it is related to somewhat, it is nucleus only. The strong and weak nuclear forces are related to nucleus only. Okay, weak nuclear force, as is explained, it's not strong like the force between the protons and protons. You know that during the radioactivity, alpha particles are emitted from the nucleus, beta particles are emitted from the nucleus, gamma rays are emitted from the nucleus. Okay, so there is an interaction between the alpha particles and the nucleus, beta particles and the nucleus. There is some forces there. The force between the alpha and nucleus, beta and the nucleus, and that interaction, that force between them is nothing but weak nuclear force. Okay. And the last is the weakest force in nature is the gravitational force. Gravitational is a long range force. Okay, so as compared to nuclear force, which is a short range force, nuclear force is the strongest in nature, but it can act, okay, only to its neighbors. But gravitational force is an unsaturated force. It can act up to certain kilometers. Okay, it's a long range force, but it is It is very weak. You can easily, why the apple fall towards earth? No, definitely it is due to gravity. Why we can walk on the earth? Definitely it is due to gravity. But now that gravitational pull is very small. If it is very strong, definitely again we can't walk on the earth. You're simply attracted to the earth. But okay, no, this is not happens. You can easily walk on the earth. Why? Because the gravitational force is the weakest force here. Okay. So again, I just remind it, the strong force binds the nucleus, electromagnetic force binds the atoms, weak force in a radioactivity, and the gravitational force binds the solar system. Okay, so if you look at the nature, okay, so if some binding is there, now there's some bond is there, now that is due to, okay, all these four forces. Okay, so if the mass is there, then who is responsible for their binding? That's the gravitational force, like this. Okay, some charges are attracted or repelled. Who is responsible? They are the electromagnetic forces. Okay, now these are the four basic forces in nature. Okay, so therefore if you compare, so which one is the strongest force? A strong nuclear force. Okay, so which act between the nucleons, electromagnetic force, charges, okay, neutrino interaction induced in the beta decay, neutrinos which are coming from the during the beta decay, and the force between them. Now that is example for the weak nuclear force. And due to the masses, we have the gravitational force, which is the last force. Okay, the first is the strongest force is strong nuclear force, then electromagnetic force, weak nuclear force, and the gravitational force here. So now this is about something about the, okay, now small introduction about. So this one, in the next lecture we are going to study about, okay, so other the technology, the scientific attitude, how the science and technology are related, we are going to study in the next part. Okay, so thank you for your kind attention.